Dr. DePass back with Starfish. Page 99. Liam's Wish. In English class, my teacher says that even the worst villain has a bit of good inside. She obviously hasn't met my brother. I find an extra notebook in my backpack that Mom must have thought was mine when she was straightening up. I flip it open. It's Liam's writing journal. Having a fat sister stinks. We can't do stuff like go to amusement parks because she can't fit on the rides. And when we go out, people stare at all of us, not just her. Sometimes it ticks me off and I want to punch people. Mostly, I just wish I didn't have to be seen with her. Liam is so full of hate for me, I can't even think of him as my brother anymore. DNA doesn't make you family. Love does. Action does. Outside in a rage, I tear page after page out of his journal, toss them into the hungry mouth of the chimney, and light a fire. As flames devour his words and smoke swirls up my nose, I realize the anger I feel right now isn't just about Liam's horrible, heartbreaking words in the journal. It's from all the words I've ever wanted to say back to him. Words that have been smoldering inside of me. It's time to let them go. They don't seem to bother him one bit, but they're hurting me. Worse than pee on carpet. Ileana Elizabeth Montgomery Hosting. What do you think you're doing? Mom screams as I use the garden hose to extinguish the last flames. Your dad's office. She points as if I don't know the way. Now! She follows me. Philip, do you know what your daughter did? Her voice calls ahead, warning him that we're about to storm the door. Once in Dad's office, Mom points to the couch. Sit! My dog and I instantly obey. Gigi looks up at me with her bulging pug eyes like, this is worse than pee on the new white carpet, bad, right? I nod. The secret to surviving childhood so far has been knowing when to keep my mouth shut. But I am not a child anymore. I have feelings. I have thoughts. I have the right to express them both. Mom fills Dad in and starts in on me again. You know the rules. No starting fires alone. Ever, ever, ever. What did you burn? Dad asked. Just some nasty writing. I didn't want anyone else to read. I don't lie. So tearing it to pieces and tossing it in the trash wasn't an option? Mom throws her hand up in the air. Nope, not when you're always going through my trash. I can't believe I just said these words aloud. And it's so worth it to see the shocked look on her face. You should hear all the words I want to say to you, Mom. I may be grounded, but I'm lighter than a balloon as I float to my room. Shabbat. Shabbat. In the Lone Star State, Friday nights in the fall are all about football. But not at our house, although we could use a few referees, especially after this week when it's been one scrimmage after another. We gather in the dining room. I dread when we greet each other with hugs and Shabbat Shalom. I prefer cuddling with the porcupine over hugging Liam. I look forward to the blessing, though even though Mom's a Christian, she participates. My parents place their hands on my head and pray over me. I always focus on Mom's voice. May God show you favor and be gracious to you. May God show you kindness and grant you peace. Favor, kindness, peace. Yes, I'd like that. From Mom, for a change. Whaling season. Mrs. Boardman, my English teacher, wants us to read all kinds of books, not just our favorite genres or authors. Reading should be like a dining at a buffet, she says. You have a lot to choose from. Fiction, poetry, graphic novels, and more. There are books galore. Eat them all up. After we read, we're supposed to write about the books in our journals. A teacher who talks about books, food, and writing? Trifecta. I know which book I'm reading. I tell Miss Boardman after class. Song for a Whale. It's about a whale whose song can't be heard by those around him. I know what it's like not to be heard. Unfortunately, Marissa overhears me. It figures you'd want to read about a big old whale. Her eyes shoot a harpoon and she claps herself 5 times. She claps whenever she completes a task. Always 5 short, rapid claps. Her habit must be quite awkward in the bathroom. Whales are unique, beautiful, and powerful, Miss Boardman says. If you bother to learn more about them, you know that. I give 5 quick claps. Comforter. Miss Boardman asked me to stay after class. Your last assignment, she hands me back the poem I wrote. It's wonderful. I'd love to hear you read it. Memories wrap around me when I'm wrapped up in my quilt. Memories of watching Bobishi weave squares from old clothes into celebrations of Hostin ancestry. Each tells a tale. Baby pajamas, lace and satin wedding gown, striped cotton jacket with the gold star. My hands glide over the faded fabric, worn velvety smooth over the years of hiding under it after school, and then when muffling my cries after Bobishi moved away. Memories warm me more than the fabric as I snuggle beneath it, feeling Bobishi's love living on as the quilt, holding and comforting me. Miss Bobishi finger snaps. Your first reading. You're officially a poet. Breakaway. School break. 2 words that spark joy in the hearts of students everywhere. Family trip. 2 words that spark fights in the car, the plane, the hotel, everywhere. Dad booked a fall foliage tour. 2 flights and countless hours just to see dying leaves in New Hampshire and Vermont. I'll never understand grown-ups. And then he throws in a surprise. To tick an item off his bucket list, we're going to Niagara Falls too. A long road trip. To top it off, there's no pool. Even if there were, I'd just as soon tie bloody fish around my waist and dive into an ocean of sharks than swim with strangers. Say cheese. The universe should warn you when something horrible is about to happen. Give you a chance to take a deep breath before you breathe, before your breath gets taken away. While my family fights over what to do next, I watch the water thunder over Horseshoe Falls in New York. Someone taps me on the shoulder. A girl speaking a language I've never heard points to her camera and me. I nod and reach for the camera to take a picture of her with her friends. But faster than flowing water, the giggling group surrounds me as the girl takes our picture. And I am the center of it. I imagine the social media posts. Girl encounter Fatzilla in America. It goes viral. I'm a global joke. What do? I think about what Dad said. I have the right to stand up for myself, to defend myself. I force myself to walk over to them and use my hands to say, I'm willing to take their picture. I snap a group photo and then one of the falls before turning my back on them for just a second, just long enough. Then I give back the camera. When the girl walks away, I toss the camera's memory card over the falls. Hard to talk about. For the first time, I'm really glad I have an appointment with Doc. As soon as I sit down, I show her the latest ugly word I wrote on the ever-growing list of my hurtful things people say to me. Monster, a human grotesquely deviating from the normal shape. One who inspires horror and disgust. Me. I create Niagara Falls in Texas when Doc asks me to tell her what happened, and before I can get one word out, tears flow. I cry so hard, so long, Dad hears me. Then I hear Dad pacing in the waiting room. A few times his cowboy boots stop right at the door, and the handle starts to turn and stops and turns again until finally I open the door and let him in. And he sits and holds me like I'm a little girl and rocks me until I'm all cried out. More time. Sometimes you just need more time. Our session is over, but Doc says we need to talk. So Dad goes back to the waiting room, never knowing what made me so upset. I don't know if I'll ever tell him. I don't want to ruin his good memories of Niagara Falls. I feel so stupid not figuring out what they were up to, and I feel so guilty for what I did. I stole something. I've never done that before. I destroyed their vacation photos. You feel guilty because you're a good person who made a bad decision to snatch the card rather than defend yourself. Doc hands me a piece of stationery and a pen. Write that girl a letter and confront her. And so we'll stop there and we'll come back and read Dear Stranger.